Recording in progress.
Hi, mate.
Hi. Am I going to do that annoying thing every single time?
Recording in progress.
Recording in
No, but it's a thing. It's a thing.
I just like her voice. Disclaimer. I have oh God.
By the way, this is a bougie new house,
This
if
is
you're
our new
wondering.
house. This is my friend. Right. I have to do this opposites, don't we? Yeah. This is my friend.
Oh.
No, but there's a thing in the middle. Look, my hand's disappeared in the ether.
Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Oh,
I have
no,
to keep it there.
Hi, friend. Oh, no, I've lost my finger. I'm not very good at opposites.
Anyway,
sorry,
the point is,
disclaimer.
we share this bougie house.
We share this house together.
Brilliant.
It looks like a cafe, but actually
a bit.
upstairs is my bedroom.
Yeah. And this is just a cafe bar, so it's only in the side bit of the kitchen, which is bigger.
Wait a minute, I've got to be careful. Reach back and turn the coffee machine on. I can in a minute. Disclaimer. Oh. I'm really sorry, the sickness that everyone's had and that I've had it over Christmas. And I found out because of kind of endometriosis, fibromyalgia kind of thing, everything gets flared and everything lasts longer. So this annoying thing that I've had since I was with you on Boxing Day, which we can talk about. Did we talk about that last time?
We talked about what? Being sick?
Being Boxing Day. When did we last do?
No, we didn't. No, because the last pod we did was the last pod we did. I know. I mean, isn't that just so January? I mean, that's all I need to say about January. And no, we haven't. And the last pod we did was on the 23rd of December. So this is a Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, guys.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just on that note, before I forget, so Christmas. So I had Christmas with my kidlets, but then this is the first year where I didn't have them afterwards. So Auntie Lindsay, as my kids call you, Auntie Lindsay had me round Boxing Day very kindly and spoilt me rotten because she knew I'd be sad, but also difficult time for you because of Mama.
Yeah.
And Mama's passing and it only being 1 year.
Yeah.
So like, all fresh and new, but you've worked really hard on sort of, I'm really proud. Oh, I'm gonna cry today. I'm in that kind of
don't make me cry. You know, when I was all right.
If I watch like a dog video, I literally like straight away. There's a guy called Rocky Kanaka that I follow, and he does
Kanaka. What a great name!
I know, he does these dog rescue things.
Rocky Kanaka. I thought Kanakas was something rude.
Is it? Knackers. I think his name's Kanaka. I'm probably wrong though, because
is that Knackers? Oh,
your Knackers. But I just, it opened on his thing, and I didn't even watch the video. I just started crying because I knew what was coming. So that's the moment I'm at today. So if I cry,
anyway, you were saying.
Anyway, I was saying, kind Auntie Lindsay had me round, but I'm really proud of you because you've worked really hard. I think it's something that I didn't do when my dad died, and I really regret it. But I feel like I had to throw myself right into work. I went straight into cats. And
which I saw, by the way, and she was brilliant. Just saying.
I hate that.
Hashtag.
Hated it. Hated it.
How many hours for the makeup? Anyway,
all of it. Miserable experience. But partly because I probably shouldn't have done it. But I needed the money. But just had my operation and everything, and I didn't seek help. And I didn't have help around me. My soon-to-be ex struggled, so kind of abandoned me a bit on the day my dad died, and I just had the operation. I think we talked about that before. And I didn't feel very supported, like in my very close circle that was kind of living with me, and I didn't seek help. And I think you've done the right thing where you're that kind of person that realizes that you need to talk to people, you need to talk to me whenever you want. You know, that's what besties are for, but also professional help, because it's lovely to have that outside point of view, because sometimes friends tell you what you want to hear, or it's awkward. You know, when someone dies, I found it really awkward. I don't know how you found people reacted to you, but it's not the way you expect. I know when my dad died, I was like, why are people being weird? Like, I think it's
very Well, I think it's two things. I think you're right. I think people just don't know what to do and say. I think it's a very awkward space, which I totally empathize with for people that have not gotten through it. And especially, I think if people really care about you, it's even worse. It's even more sort of tongue-tied and
Yeah.
almost an avoidance situation because you don't want to be the one that says something to then cause more hurt and upset. So I get that people are reluctant to do anything about it. So they just do nothing,
Mm.
which, if you had to rewrite the book and say to everyone, do something, not nothing, or say anything, not nothing, would be my advice to anybody who's very close to someone who's got someone who's lost someone very, very close to them.
Mm.
But also the therapy thing, because I have spent the best part of the last 15 years either giving counseling or receiving therapy.
Mm.
I think it's still a very muted subject in the UK, unfortunately. I think it's become more common, but it's still seen as a negative thing, not a positive thing. I think when I got to 6 months in after the loss, I realized I was stuck. I was so stuck. And actually, all the toolkit in the world that you might have from all your years of living on this planet is one thing that you go to. But when you realize you've got nothing in your toolkit and you're sort of in the same place, the only way I think that you can kind of get out of your head and see a bigger picture is by getting proper professional help with a specialism in an area you're struggling with. And
Mm.
I'd advocate that to everybody in terms of mental health, because like you said, you get to a year on or an anniversary of anything, of whatever that is, whether it's a birthday or because they're all milestones and they all give you a certain feeling at a
Mm.
certain point in time because time's passing. And you know this with your dad, it's never lesser. It's just it brings everything up because an anniversary of any description connected to that person you've lost is going to be a repeated cycle that you have to face. So, to get to Christmas and have the focus on, pouring all of that love that you're missing into people living is the
Mm.
best medicine. So
Mm.
that's kind of what happened on Boxing Day when you were like, okay, this is really brand new milestone for me and I'm going to be a bit sad. Well, I was like, let's turn this into something that's nurturing
Mm.
for both of us, rather than it be dwelling on what's lost.
Yeah.
Try and focus on what you have
Mm.
is the thing that is one of the big things I've got out of talking to someone.
I think you're much more of an inherently grateful person than I am. I'm a bit more like
We're coming back to this Abby bashing. I'm not doing this today.
but you're better at practicing being grateful. I'm very bad at it. And I think I've realized since my dad died, which was now 11, 12 years ago, however long it's been.
Can't believe that. It's a long time.
Well, it doesn't feel like it. And I
No.
sometimes feel that it's time doesn't matter in a way. It can be as fresh as it is. But along with that is because I've spent my life like you giving advice to other people. And I love listening and I love talking. I'm a big listener talker, probably more talker than listener, but I love being there for people. And I've been told that I can give good advice as an outsider. And I've thought about being a therapist. I think what goes with that sometimes you feel like you can fix yourself because everyone's told you your whole life, oh, you're a really good listener. Oh, you give really good advice.
Absolutely that.
And you don't feel like it's going to happen to you, And I think with my dad, I did the right thing in keeping busy. I do think a lot of people say, don't do that, don't mask it, don't. But I think when you have that kind of brain, it's great to keep busy. It's
Yeah.
actually very
Yeah.
dangerous to sort of wallow too long sometimes. If you have mental health problems, if you know you do, if you are a woman in any kind of sort of hormonal state, you know the dangers and you've got to kind of find your own way around it. So I'm glad I kept busy, but I think I didn't get as much help as I needed. And I think I don't think
Yeah.
you can ever go back and repair that. It doesn't matter how much help I get now. I have done a bit of damage in the
Yeah.
past. I have damaged my brain by not, you know, when my dad died, I was there for my mum. I was there for Owen. I needed to earn money. I needed to do this. I needed to do that. And there was so much need put upon me by everyone in my life, because I've never been the focus for most people in my life. And I think I lost my dad too early in my journey into, oh God, this is going to sound so, but
Oh.
it's going to sound so wanky and like, oh my God, but in my, I hate saying it, makes me sick, but in my journey into finding myself, right, I said it.
Oh.
Finding myself, but like the real you.
Yeah.
And it is a journey. And I think now that if I'd have lost my dad now, oh my God, I would have coped so much better and I would have done more of the right things, because I was young and I focused on other people. And I think, fuck that, it is 100% a time in your life where you need to, even if people are pulling at you, go, no, thank you. I need to look after myself, because if I don't look after myself, I then can't look after other people. So,
but then I would say, looking at you from the outside recently, and I think these things come from adversity, and I know it's happened to me again through trauma or whatever.
yeah,
We don't need to specifically talk about your trauma, but the things that are going on for you. I'm proud because within that you've gone, right, I want to make a positive change for myself, and I might go to talking therapies and get some support, which for you, knowing you as long as I've known you, is such a brilliant and brave and big thing to commit to. And I've seen you blossom because of it, even in times of hardship, which I know everyone in the world, we all go through our own thing, but to have the hope and the light of something that comes out of talking therapy, and to see it in your friend who's been struggling because they haven't accessed that for the whole time you've known them, is a gift for me, to see it as your best mate. I'm not going to cry. Don't make me cry.
Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing. I think for
Do
both.
you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I think it goes both ways as well. I think, yeah, I think my poor therapist, I have so much to say and I just don't know where to start. And I'm Lady Tangent, I don't even know how this conversation started.
I think that's such a. Is that your
illness.
Bridgerton ID? Lady Tangent.
Lady Tangent, yeah.
I wonder what I would be.
No, that's my rapper's name, Lady Tangent.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. But everyone, I hope you really enjoy my sexy cough. It's really, I'll do it a bit
For some people,
do
you know what? For some people, that's a fetish.
Yeah, I need to go on OnlyFans whilst
I know
have
exactly.
this horrible cough. But anyway, back to the point. Apologies about my cough. It started when it's your fault.
Yeah.
I obviously caught it off you, and I think I caught it Christmas Eve down the pub with the kids.
I think I got yours delayed.
Yeah.
Because you germed my house up. Well, it's not my house, but
I do anyway. I just
sit
in your guest bedroom and just fart.
Lovely.
For hours.
That's nice.
And
it's a nice picture.
And shed my hair onto your pillow.
But
but we had a lovely time.
We did. I
started feeling ill. It was more the drive home that was absolutely fucking abysmal. It took 4.5, 5 hours instead of 2. And I felt progressively worse.
I just felt for you on that journey.
I feel even worse now. But we had a lovely time. You spawned me rotten, and it was really lovely and magical and very amusing as well. It was nice to see how attached your partner is to your cat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, what's really lovely actually, and I think animals do this, don't they? For my partner who probably isn't. I mean, you and I are absolutely dozy over animals. I think for a partner that you think isn't, to see someone who suddenly becomes absolutely infatuated and in love with the cat that you both take on.
It was like
it's joyful.
His 18-month-old had gone in, had gone in the garden and hopped the fence. Like he was so worried about where the cat was.
Yeah.
And even though I've got 3 cats, but like I was still like, chill out. Like the love.
It's a cat. They
It's a
like
cat.
to go over
Yeah.
the fence.
He definitely loves that cat more than you. If there was a fire, that cat would be
I
rescued
think.
and you would burn to death. 100%. He
I
would.
think,
He would get
it's.
ADHD lost in consulting the cat and then go, "Oh shit, Lindsay," and you'd be gone. That's what would happen. Not that he doesn't love you, but it was not. It was. I'm
I'd
saying
love
it
to
was fun
say that
and
I
it was
would be the
lovely.
first to be rescued in a fire, but I think it's fair to say, and you've met her, she is so unbelievably sweet that I
Yeah,
think it's fair that you would reach for her first.
yeah.
Uh,
But
you
it was
know.
nice to see. It was nice to see him sort of because I don't see him often. It was nice to see that emotional side that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, and I think, we got her just at the end of lockdown, I think,
Yeah.
and was obviously a rescue kitten at that point, and it was
Mm.
quite lovely to see the relationship between them develop because obviously I'm away a lot as well on nights out, whatever, and it's sort of not a forced bond, but he's sort of that's his companion at some times of the
Mm.
evening when he's not out and about and doing lots of stuff. So in a way, he's probably not even aware of quite how much emotional joy and love that she's brought him just from being there. Do you know what I mean?
And
It's not going
I
to
mean,
analyze it.
since I've lost Precious, of course, I absolutely adored her. I had her for 10, 11, 12 years. God, I can't even remember. What did my dad meet her? I can't remember. Anyway, just so many years. So of course I'm gonna, but it's more the company that you don't know is there. Like just having her in the house, even if I wasn't with her, and just the comfort of knowing there's another
Yeah.
warm body in the house when you're alone and when you're working. Even when I'm down the end, like knowing that I had the joy of coming in and giving her kisses, and she'd always
Yeah.
be happy to see me. You know, I think that's the only. I was going to say that's the only joy children bring. I don't mean that.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't mean that. It was coming out wrong. That's the one thing you can kind of count on that children
Yeah.
bring. The same as the thing that you can count on with animals, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
the joy that they show you when you see them. Like I haven't seen my kids. I didn't see them for a week. We're doing week on, week off at the moment because that's what they asked for.
How's
And when
that?
I don't see
Sorry.
them, oh, don't die.
How's that going?
Um, I think that although it's hard on me, it's easier on them because they have a bit of stability. My
Right.
ex doesn't like it, I don't think, and he wants a different setup. But I think for all involved, it's quite good because it also gives me a week that I
Mm.
know is a full week and I can actually plan stuff. And thinking of career, I'm not, I haven't had that support for years to be able to build businesses. I haven't had the financial support from family to I just haven't had that blessed life that allows you to have the space to build your own business. So I don't have flexibility in my work. So it's working for me. It's just really sad not having them for a week. I miss them so much. I think I'm looking forward to in a couple of years where we get them a phone, and they're looking forward to it as well. They're trying to use it as an excuse to get a phone now, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
But they're like, basically something happened. I won't go into it, but it was quite bad. While they were at my ex-partner's flat, and it was all like a big I haven't even talked to you about it yet, but when they came to me, one of them was quite upset, but allowing her to use my phone to text him, she said, I don't want a voice note, I don't want a video call, I want to put it in writing, which I think is quite grown up for a 9-year-old with
That
ADHD.
is quite grown up.
She said, I want to text and then I can think about it and we can have time. Allowing her to do that and put it in writing, that I had to decipher because the spelling was atrocious. So I had to just rewrite it. Autospell didn't help her. Autocorrect didn't help her at all. But getting her to send him that and him send her back really calmed the situation. So I think selfishly and for them, when they have a phone, having time apart will be easier because they can send me little. When I worked away for a month in the summer, I had to go and save money for the divorce because I didn't have a pot to piss in. So I worked away for a full month and it was horrible. I drove back on the Sunday, but it was horrible. But I got them like a little rubbish phone, and they could just send me some messages, and that helped. So I think at the moment I'm happy, but I don't think he's happy with the setup. But as long as the girls are happy, don't care.
Well, I was going to say that's what's great. What's great about the way you're working is that, they're the center of it, and it's about their continuity and their well-being and them feeling balanced and settled. What you both want is I don't know, can't really speak for your ex, but certainly you're putting them first. And it seems like that's the smoothest path because they're going to be the calmest they're going to be in the setup that they feel they're in control of. So, you know, he might have wants and needs, but I'd like to think that by the sounds of it, however uncomfortable with it, it's good for the girls.
I think it's why I'm struggling as well with the future, and I'm not able to earn money. One, because of my health, but my focus is getting the house done so I can finalize financials and divorce, get rid of a solicitor, get rid of all that in my life.
Yeah.
And whatever I'm left with, and I know that he's going to be left really well, and it's often the way. I'm going to be left, like I've said, probably with my initial investment that I put in 14 years ago, plus not much else. But my focus is I just want to get all that done, and I'm putting aside work and I'm putting aside everything, to make sure the kids are mentally okay and that they feel that they can talk to me and that their needs are met. And there's a lot that surrounds that because the eldest is going to upper school next year, so there's a lot of kind of mental health help that they're going to need, but also just to kind of get it done. It's dragging on. I don't want to be in this house anymore. It's a shell. It's awful.
What do you mean? Our house is bougie.
This house.
What do you mean you don't want to be in this house? I've just built it for us.
No, I love our lesbian love nest. That's my favorite place to be. I'm talking about my hetero awful shell that I sometimes have to leave you to live in. God, this is what my house is going to look like. I always said I love, like the new age, like coffee shop bar.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want my house to look
I like school tiles as well. That sort of.
I like chalkboards.
I mean, who knew? Which is a visualization of your future.
I love chalkboards. I love, where am I going? Hopefully that's fake because I don't remember to water things. Everything dies. I'm surprised that I keep my children alive. But like fake plants, bit of wood. I love a bit of wood. I love a bit of subway tile. Yeah, this could be my house. I do not like, which way is it? That way. I do not like modern. I don't like modern. I feel like this is kind of fusion. I don't like that banister. I don't like those glass. That way. Yeah, I don't like banister, whatever that is, wire.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like a wire stairwell.
No, I want like an old Edwardian stairwell.
I think it's interesting actually, because I think interiors wise, I've been through it all like in my life, but I genuinely fall on the contemporary side of things with like minimalism. If I could start from blank again now, it would be that way I would go. Not renovation
like
or old-fashioned.
Maniacs, old-fashioned antique
Yin and yang, it works.
Yeah. We couldn't live together. We'd have to do that thing that Helena Bonham Carter did, where you have like a house and kind of with a coinciding door. And I think,
I mean,
this is now, what I say, the secret to a relationship is not living together.
Well, it's a new topic that's come up, hasn't it? About people who there's been a few people, I think experts on podcasts I've listened to lately that talk about the merits of that. It's crazy that people share a bed and for actual sleeping and all this. I don't know if I think there was a specialist on another very popular podcast that I won't mention because it's got enough listeners as it is. We want to, by the way, I need to thank listeners. This is a good point at which to thank listeners. Already? Because we have got some wonderful feedback of some wonderful people that have bothered, even if it's late at night and they need to get to sleep, have bothered to subscribe and listen to our podcasts. So thank you so much.
I hope they all subscribe though. I feel like certain people, Ray, I feel not picking you out, Ray, but I feel like certain people might not be subscribed. I mean, I'll get told off, because maybe they have. But a few people I've spoken to, you must subscribe. It costs nothing.
Exactly that. So like, subscribe,
Kindness to
share.
two old ladies down on their luck.
Yeah. But anyway, there's been a bit of chat lately
Mm.
about just that very thing about setups and what's traditional now. Does it serve your health? Does it serve your relationship? All of that sort of discussion. I mean, that's a whole other interesting thing. But I think, certainly people have gone down the road of having their own spaces in the house as well, like creating their own offices or creating their own garden room where they go and do their thing. And, it having that time where you're not all in the same combined space, I think is a healthy thing.
I think again, it's a male female thing that is evolving. That I think the man cave and the home office has predominantly been a male thing.
Yeah.
I think I've never heard, when I was growing up as a kid, I'd never heard of a woman cave. And I remember being a girl thinking, why is it a man cave? Like, why do men get a cave and we don't? Like,
Yeah.
it always felt like the kitchen was the woman's room,
Yeah.
No, it's not. Like having your own space, regardless of gender, to be able to kind of have peace. The trouble is, I think, when you share a house, and it's the same when you have kids, if you're triggered by noise, it's very difficult to have that space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Even I'm in my office, which is down the end of the garden, which I'm not going to have for long once we sell the house. But even then, in the summer, they're out on the trampoline in the garden. So I can't do anything in this office. You'd need a soundproof space. So I think it's hard to create those spaces, but very, very important. And I think
Yeah.
it's important if you've got a partner that just gets it. You don't have to be the same person, but you do have to get it. You do have to listen. And if somebody says, I'm triggered, it's generally not a lie. It's not their fault, to kind of listen and go, great, you tell me, or I can help, whichever one, to create those moments, that time, that space for you to sort of have, so you're not constantly triggered 24/7. And I think the sleeping together thing is a big issue for a lot of couples. That why would you sleep in a bed with someone? Like, it feels weird that the sleep part, if we all had enough money, you'd have like a sex room and a sleep room, because
Oh,
it feels like
well,
sleep is tied to sex somehow, and that's the reason why you have to share a bed, because you're married. And why
yeah.
would you? And you're
Yeah.
like, but it's not natural to sleep so close to someone who isn't, who of course is going to trigger you, because you all sleep differently.
Well, and then there's the whole, sleep apnea, snoring, insomnia. Depends on what you're dealing with individually, health wise, at sleep patterns. And, let's face it, it's great now because there's so much information out there and it's something I'm really mindful of. But the sleep analytics as it is, and I'm so geeky about it, about sleep debt and how much sleep you ought to get, but the quality of what sleep you get, you only need to sort of start doing some experiments over a period of time, and you realize that the most optimum sleep you're going to get is when you're in the same space, same room, dark room. You've done all the right things, you've eaten the right things, you've gone to bed at the right time, you've avoided caffeine, blah, blah, blah. But also, the difference between when you're on your own and when you're with someone is massive in terms of what sleep quality you actually get. And I've done the research.
I think that we're made to feel guilty about speaking up. And I think, why? Like, if someone snores and then you're a light sleeper, it's not that you're blaming them. It's not that you're saying that they should take accountability for their snoring. But I think realizing that that isn't compatible, and to get good sleep, you do not have to sleep in the same room. And also, it's not sexy. Why do we overexpose ourselves as couples? Like, we're forced to overexpose ourselves to things that are triggering. It's like, but you should, you've got to fucking get used to his snoring because he can't help it. And you're like, but I can't help that it keeps me awake and I need good sleep. So why? Neither of us need to blame each other. We just sleep in separate rooms. Like, is
And
that
or
much of a
earplugs, which is also
yeah? Oh, well,
a bit of
I've
a bit
used
of a game
earplugs.
changer, isn't it? It's
But
like,
even then, being in a bed with someone where they toss and turn a lot, they move the bed
yeah.
around a lot. It's not about blaming. It's just, you should be a bit more selfish to get your optimum sleep. Everyone should get their optimal sleep.
Do you know what I'd love to hear from people is about their, not just questions, but about their home setups, about how they manage, balance and sort of space and well-being. I'd love to hear from people about that, about individual setups, because you sort of see your immediate friends and bits and pieces and how they do it. But I'd love to know. I'd just love to know, especially as we got a few people listening in from our industry as well. And it's a bit of a sort of night owl industry. And even that side of life's very incompatible if you're with a partner that doesn't do performing and isn't coming back at sort of midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. All of these aspects, I'd be really interested to see how people work it if they have a partner in the industry and a partner maybe not in the industry that's got different time schedules to you. That'd be interesting. Somebody come and share a story with us.
I just think, why allow yourself to have bad sleep? Like, well, I think all of these things in relationships and marriage and about living together aren't sexy. Like, they don't turn you on. They're not things that help you grow to love someone. And it's not about accepting someone for who they are necessarily. It's not about personality. It's about, like, if I'm with someone who, I don't know, I can't think of a good example, picks their nose, I don't know.
Or eats with their mouth open.
It talks while they're eating, let's say, which my kids hate. My kids hate that.
Also, I get the ick about that.
I get the ick about it. But let's say we are. Do we try and ask the person to change, which is very difficult conversation because then that person feels attacked? Do we have a conversation where we say, this triggers me, and we put the onus on ourselves, and I'd love to eat separately? Because
it's so harsh, isn't it?
But is it harsh? Isn't it harsher to ruin a relationship by trying to force ourselves to?
No, I agree. Like, or change someone, or
I have to force myself to not be triggered by someone being gross, or that person feeling like they're gross and being triggered by trying to change. Like, is there another option that we're not accessing? I feel like the push is on me not trying to make people to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Because often this is just talking from personal experience, woman to man. Like, if someone blows their nose in the shower and I think that's gross, and I think most of the world would think it's gross, and I ask that person a million times, like, I can hear you throughout the house blowing your nose in the shower, would you mind not? And that person doesn't want to change. Like, where I'd be interested what people's advice would be. Is it me to change and not be triggered by the noise, knowing it's being done in the shower and feeling the ick about me getting in the shower? I know it washes away, but it's like a thing. You can't help how you feel. Or is it on them to change? I'd be interested what people think.
I mean, interestingly, lately I've been feeling more about it's how you respond to the situations that are presented rather than anyone else. Like, it's going to sound very hippie. You're going to be like, oh, she goes again.
Well, I'm the opposite to you. I'm going to think the opposite. I already know.
Yeah. And I sort of think, but I guess my recent thoughts and feelings have been all about, in anything that could potentially be a trigger or make you frustrated or XYZ. And I've been in a few situations already in the new year which are presented with that. The way that I've got back to a calm sense of reality has been to look at how I respond to it and how I make it not trigger me. Like, as in, keep control in the center of it myself.
Yeah, I hate that. Hate it for you.
Hate that for me.
Hate that for all women. Because, and this is, I'm going to say, women as a collective, come at me. Do you work? I'm going to say women as a collective. This is only from personal experience, speaking to hundreds and hundreds of women, having them in my life, all that kind of stuff. We already generally take on the mental load of emotions, household, children, appointments, thinking of things, birthdays, Christmas, buying presents, wrapping presents. All of that is often, and I think especially in heterosexual relationships, I would say a I feel like that's been my place, and a lot of other people have said the same. I think in a situation where someone else is being a way that lots of other people would also find unacceptable, taking the responsibility again on yourself and how you react, not them. Because I feel like even you taking the time to have to say to someone, by the way, did you know that blowing your nose in the shower is a little bit yuck? And having them like being worried about their response, like, oh my God, stop picking on me, or no, it's not, or like having to take all of that onto yourself when it's someone else doing something. And I'm only talking about things that I think are, you know, like talking with your mouth full of food, that I think are widely unacceptable. Having to take that upon yourself again, like, why is it not the other person that should realize that and that should fix your triggers? And why are we always having to be the fixers? Why do we have to take everything on and then try and find a way, and also try and treat men like babies, and, you know, come at them with the conversation a little bit more gently and try and find a way that they find acceptable to tell them about the thing that they're doing? Let's say not putting stuff in the dishwasher, let's say something actually factual, right? You finish your food, you don't clear up after yourself, you make a massive mess, and you don't put your plate in the dishwasher. You leave it for your partner to do. That is factually unacceptable, I would say. And then having to take the responsibility of being kind and calm, because if I approach my husband a certain way with any kind of anger as a woman, I'm so unreasonable. I'm a bitch, and I'm this and I'm that. I'm just getting to the point where I've spent years doing that, the softly approach. And I think, no, as a grown adult, you do know that you should clear up after yourself. You do know that. I don't need to tell you, but apparently I do. And I also need to ask you to do that work that you've created, the mess, to tidy it up. And I have to also not only be the person to bring it up, I have to be calm and I have to be kind with it. When the fact is, you're just being unkind and you're being a baby and you're being lazy and you expect me to be mummy, which isn't sexy. And you then want me to, like, I just feel like the weight is huge on us. And you saying, you know, you're being really kind by taking that situation and also thinking about how they would like to be approached.
No, I think there is a bit of that, but I also think there's lots of experts that would tell you, and you know, experts as experts in the field, you can agree or disagree. But there are things that I do think that many couples who have massive busts up and can't get to some sort of agreement, the art of when and where and how the conversation happens and how it's approached, the communication aspect of that discussion, I think is the thing to be looked at if you're having problems. Because very often, I'm guilty of it, you're having these conversations either out of context, which makes it even worse, which can be more triggering for them, or it's too much at once. So one thing you chat about leads to this deeper, meaningful thing that the other person can't really take and isn't in a brain space to do that, whether they're, you know, where they are emotionally developed or whatever. How you have that conversation and the rules you set up around that conversation. I think it has to have rules. And I think the person has to go, yeah, okay, let's get into this before you can even make a difference in communication. And from all of the stuff that I have researched, and I absolutely love it, by the way, podcast geek of the century and reading geek, it does, they're the only things that prove scientifically that there's some change or some movement or some reflection from the other party's side, whether it be male, female, or whatever the setup is. That's the
And I
only
think that's
thing
my
that's
problem.
proven.
And it's maybe my own experience and what I've read and what I've spoken to other women about. I've never had that kindness shown to me. I've never had a man listen to podcasts and read books and do research on how to approach me in a kinder way. I've never had a man take the time to do anything for me. It's always been on me. I think that's what makes me, why I'm so angry, is it's like, because you are a woman, it is, you are gaslit into being told that this is a natural thing that women do. Women are nurturing, women are mothers, women are, as if like it's magical and we don't have to put the work in, and we do have to put the work in. You're saying you constantly put the work in and the research, and I've never had that done for me. I've asked someone to go and get help. I've asked them to go and do the research. I've bought them stuff to help them and given them everything on the plate, and they still wouldn't find a way. It's never about me. It's always about them and being kind to them and approaching them in a way. I've never had that done to me. I've never, ever had someone think about how they approach me because of my needs.
Well, do you know what I think that leads us nicely into? I think very soon on the podcast we ought to have a guest.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
And
And it
I'm
leads
going to
us
turn
on
my
to
fan
some
heater off.
questions
I'm
as
going to
well.
disappear now.
Um,
Yes.
so this is interesting you say that, because a lot of this, well, as well as some contributed questions this week, let me say thank you very much for all those people that have given us questions. We're looking to have a guest soon on the podcast, a man who who is, I would say, a good example of somebody who would enter into that conversation about having the right chats in the right way, and listening and coming to the partnership as equals. I would say we've got a guy that, has had some very interesting thoughts and reflections to give to us following listening to our podcast and subscribing, and also is someone who's given us a question or two to have a think about this week, and is in the industry.
And I can't wait to have them on, because I think that I am at that point. I'm not saying
You've surely got questions to ask him.
I am at that point where I'm just so angry at the world, because I am hearing it is a lot of women are going through the same things. And I never thought I'd be a muggle. I never thought I'd just be like everyone else. And I thought that I was different. I thought that I had a different man. I didn't think I'd have one of those people in my life. And then you get to the point where you do, and it's very hard not to feel anger. And I'm not saying all men, and I know there are those out there who
Yeah.
who do get the help, who do all this lovely stuff, who are brilliant partners.
Yeah.
I've just never met one. And
Yet.
I can't wait to meet more people who
Yet.
are genuinely thoughtful humans, regardless of gender, and who've put the work in, and who've been through trauma because of their good heart.
Yeah. Well, I think it could be a bit of an eye opener, when we do that interview. I think I'd like to say we'd line that up for the next podcast.
Yeah.
And it's come off the back of some questions that have been contributed by the lovely Dan, who I will start with today. Yeah, so we've had a couple of questions in, haven't we, from different people? But I think it made our ears prick up a bit when it was a male in the industry, that we know doing a brilliant job, and they not only gave us good feedback on the podcast, but also about some of the issues that surprised me that he had faced as a male in the industry, which were the same as any women that I know in the industry that have faced as well. It just made me sit up, and I was very interested, and we ended up having a very long chat about it. After which he, suggested some ideas and also submitted some questions. So thank you, Dan. And Dan, I think Dan, it's fair to say, in the future episode will be our guest.
I hope so. I also think specifically in this industry, if we're talking about our podcast and our specifics, I think we touched on it last week, is people don't realize the rampant misogyny that still is allowed to happen. And I can definitely talk about women in the industry on another podcast as well, because that's a whole other thing that annoys me, is that some women are allowed to be a certain way in this industry, but just concentrating on men in the industry and interestingly talking to someone possibly next time.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a really good one. It's going to be a really revealing, I think.
Other men. Yeah. Their view on other men, their view on other types of women, and the women we've encountered that we've gone, huh? Why do you think you can be like this?
But I also think that's surrounded with a question that came in that wasn't directed to this, but surrounds about this free pass for bad behaviour in our talent industry. I.e., it doesn't really matter what you identify as. There's a question around why is talent so often used as a free pass for bad behaviour. I think that's a separate discussion, which encompasses all, however you identify. I think that's a good question for a later date. I think that it's not gender specific at all.
No.
The question that I'll put to us, because I mean, this is a good extended episode, but if you've hung in there, well done. I'm probably going to use one today because of the time.
Yeah.
But I would say one of the questions that was sent in that I think are quite good is, how does the fear of being labelled difficult or unprofessional silence people?
Mm. So I think it almost comes back to what you've just said about talent and being difficult. I do think it has got better, but I think it's moved on not just about talent. I think you can include race, gender, sexuality to an extent, um, you know, social media, like your followers, all of that has encompassed that. In the old days where you heard about these performers who were, just because they were famous, were just awful to people, just absolutely awful. I think there was a really famous Christian Bale recording where he just absolutely was screaming at the crew. And it still to some extent is linked to talent and can still be excused by people, and they make up excuses like, oh my god, being famous or having that, being a lead role, there's so much pressure on them, they're probably feeling, people do tend to make up excuses for other people. And I think that I have been very wary of that, and I've been walked over by other cast members, by producers, directors in turn, because I think I've been quite easygoing, even when I've played big lead roles and important roles. One of my biggest, I had another cast member, I was the title role, and I had another cast member just keep telling me stuff and giving me notes, and me thinking, in what world do you think that's appropriate? In a very male to female way, where it was like, listen, honey, listen, sweetie, this person before you did this that was much better than what you're doing, like that kind of attitude. And you look at that, and let me just say, this was a successful yet fairly untalented person, that it created a fear in me of speaking up. And I think as I got older, I spoke up, and what I realized is, when you speak up, bye bye. Like, I was taught,
Interesting.
even now, even not that many years ago, and I was definitely right, they were wrong. I spoke up for an entire company because I thought, as the lead, I should, that was my place, because it always was when I was younger, like the famous person or the lead. So, but I was definitely seen as difficult and unprofessional and wrong, in a situation where everyone, the whole cast, wouldn't speak up for themselves because they were afraid for their job, but they had all voiced concerns to me that the company was doing wrong, and it shouldn't be like
So do you think that this fear culture, I mean, I can only speak for myself as well, where I've been, not so much now, because I have a different mindset this last couple of years, but you know, I think I saw an interview with, I think it might have been Emma Thompson.
Mm.
I keep talking about things I've seen, but it's good to have references. And
There's
she
a
was
Sharon
talking
Stone one about being.
to talk not about to step into your power, and that your power and your truth and what you're saying, with truth and clarity. It's people are very quick to label that as difficult and unprofessional because it's uncomfortable
Mhm.
to hear the truth, and it's more about people hearing the truth. And this whole, like you said, this whole thing where you might have 20 people that are saying the same thing, and they're all sitting in fear and going moan, 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 moan. The minute that you take the lead to say, this is very unhealthy, this is really toxic, let's try and clean this out, shall we? Let's try and get this on authentic, honest level where it is spoken out about, but in a very professional and very calm way.
Mm.
So the opposite to what is being suggested you are,
Yeah.
and how it is still seen by quite a few people as that you're trouble,
Hmm.
rather than you're actually the opposite. You're trying to fix things for the good of everybody. I think it's fair to say that I'm now trying to experiment with the Sharon Stone, the Emma Thompson approach, because I think as long as you sit and you're authentic and you're consistent and you don't engage in the gossip or the moaning or the negativity that is like going to drag you ultimately down, it because ultimately it affects your well-being, because your whole demeanor changes the minute you start me, oh god, that annoys me. You know what it's like, you've been in it, haven't you? You know, it's
Yeah.
like your whole show gets affected, and
And
actually all you
again,
want to do is be in joy.
I feel like I've had to use extra brain power because I'm not a calm person. I am instantly triggered. I'm not an eloquent, intelligent speaker. My brain is tree brain. My brain is muddled, and it always has been. And you add now menopause to ADHD, and it's like a big old mashed potato up there. And I think having that
I'm
pressure,
not laughing at you, by the way.
but it is,
With you.
when I need to speak up for myself, having to use that extra energy when you're not a calm person, when you do flare, and when you're instantly triggered and you're a fighter, but having to emulate, an Emma Thompson when you're not that person. And I don't feel eloquent and I don't feel like I have the power ever. It's really difficult. If you're that amazing, measured, intelligent, eloquent, erudite person, well done, and keep speaking up. But when you're not, and you're in that position, it's really, really hard. And you feel like everyone's like, oh God, that, and it takes so much energy to try and be calm and put it to them in a calm way. And then they might say something that really triggers you. And then you have to still stay calm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And your brain is going like this, and you can't put the words together, and you're so frustrated. And I've often been in those situations where I have stayed calm, but it's taken so much energy that later I'd love to go back and say what I really meant, because I was using all my energy to stay calm. I didn't have the words to express
Yeah.
eloquently what I really wanted to.
And I can understand, and everybody has this problem in that it's about confidence and it's about word power and it's about the right communication of language. And I I understand the struggles people have. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I love words. I mean, I love speaking. I've spoken on a public sort of forum most of my life,
Mm.
and feel I've actually wasted quite a few years of not using this ability that I have to eloquently put together things that should be said
Yeah.
before. And it's one of those, not a superpower, but that thing where you say, actually, you're right, well done to all those people that have spoken before. Because for every person that has a voice that does it, it can demonstrate to people who worry about that but have the same feelings and don't know how to express it,
Mm.
a way to do it, or emulate something that they can use, or use that thing in future or something like that. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute everyone is going to want to feel they want to do it, but I think it's an interesting question that Dan's posed,
Mm.
because it has to be brought up. We have to have this discussion, because it's so we've not made much progress and people still sit in fear, and there is some toxic cultures that sort of happen because it comes down to leadership. At the end of the day, it comes down to what gets disseminated down from the leadership team.
Mm.
The leadership team, I think this is the crux of it. The leadership team being the producers, directors, writers, and the lead cast leadership, whoever it is, your main person doing that lead role. Their behavior will set the whole stage
Yeah.
for the emotional content of that show and what's produced, and also the relationships between people. And if that's off, you're going to have a pretty tough job to get anything other than the culture we talked about. And until the leadership teams in our profession are addressed in
Mm.
the way they treat people and how they speak with people, because there is no HR, as we've discussed, there's no audit for this team. It doesn't exist.
Well, there is one that exists, but it's not enforced and it's not real.
It's not like someone comes in or you've got an HR department that's going, you
there's no
can't do that.
rules. There's no set rules.
Yeah.
There's no on paper 10 commandments that everyone has to follow.
And none of us are perfect, but I feel like if more leaders in our industry took the time to further learning development in terms of good leadership and creating really healthy environments in teams, I think if more training was done at that level, it would disseminate down. I
think
really do.
100%, like every other job in the entire world, HR department for a start, somebody that they have to employ because they're making a lot of money, that even if they come in 1 day a week, that is HR, that has also the capacity to forward them for mental health assistance, because that's not done in our industry. It's all on you.
No.
And a lot of times, I think I've talked about it before, being Evita dying of cancer 8 times a week, there was never a conversation about my mental health. And I know historically lots of actors, musical theatre, even performers that have had poor mental health due to the repetition of doing something 8 times a week for 2 years or 18 months or a year. Of course, it's going to affect you. You do a deep dive into that character and it's never mentioned and nobody ever offers you help. It's all on you. It's out of your pocket and it's your responsibility to recognize it. I also think you're fact over feeling, I'm feeling over fact. So if you're a fact over feeling person, whereas you're very good at putting the facts first and staying calm, whereas I'm like, I want to do that all the time. I think, yes, as a cast member, it would be lovely if it was your responsibility, but we know you're not protected. When I was in Evita, equity, Depp brought up issues that every cast member was unhappy with, but when it came to the meeting, he was the voice and everyone sat there like fucking wimps. He voiced his opinion. Funnily enough, he was the only person that wasn't asked back on the next contract. He was insanely talented, lovely guy, should have been playing the part, not the cover. Like, he was amazing, but because he spoke up, and now this is the unspoken control, isn't it? The unspoken control is they know you need the money. They know you need the job. You're not doing this for fun, most of us. And they don't have to say to a company, we are firing you, because they're not firing you. They're just not renewing your contract. Yeah. Everyone knows why. Everyone knows why. They don't need to say, we're not renewing your contract because you spoke up and we don't like that. So we're going to make an example of you. They will never admit that. They'll say to their deathbed, no, it was because he was absolute rubbish. Out of all the company members that I would have fired, he would have been the last. So they do that sneaky thing where they're allowed to make an example of people. And what they need is hard and fast rules. That's all we need. HR, mental health help, and hard and fast rules. More people we can talk to, more set things that they have to adhere to.
And I have to say, there's precedent for this in the film industry, film and TV industry. They have brilliant structures where these things are employed and the benefits are huge because the budget's there, obviously. It's a different level of money that's sumped into it, but the bones of it and the structure of it is all there for the taking. In terms of like the lower scale productions and the things that don't have mega budgets.
Theatre, like my mum was an opera singer, and I remember, and this was going back years, so I know it's changed, but I remember seeing her do a role. She was playing Arbate at the Royal Opera House, and she had a sword that she carried as part of her costume. They employed a sword carrier. Now, they might have had other roles, and I always thought that was really funny. But what they did was to assist my mum being able to be an opera singer, which is well respected. I don't know why that's any more respected than musical theatre or dance, but apparently it is. She had a sword carrier. So this person would carry her sword for her. She would get to the stage, they would place the sword on her, and the sword carrier would support the weight of the sword right before she went on stage. Then they would gently, without her knowing, just slowly release the weight of the sword so that she could go and do her job. They had fire
wonderful
at the front of the stage. Like safety around that was immense because it was
Of
Royal
course.
Enfield.
Yeah.
They had a falcon. She had to have a falcon on her arm, like a real live falcon. The safety
Lovely.
around that was absolute. So they had a falcon person, a trainer, a fire safety person, a sword carrier. Like, can you imagine? Like, people don't realize
How
we do
amazing
our
is
own
that?
makeup, we buy our own makeup, we pay for
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah.
If they tell you you have to have lashes, you have to buy them. Even your wig, like, you do often get wiggies and it's really, really brilliant. But sometimes, because of the rush, because there is only one wiggy and an assistant and there's 30 people in wigs, you end up doing your own. You do your own pin curls, you dress yourself, you help each other dress and
Yeah.
undress. Often
Yeah.
there are dressers and they're absolutely fucking amazing people, dressers, wiggies.
Yeah. I
Stuff.
mean,
Not knocking them.
again, we hopefully we can get someone on the pod
That would be amazing
from a
because
creative team.
it's a bit like how I feel about the NHS. Not knocking the NHS, the people generally incredible, and
Yeah.
with those people that are meant to help you, there's just not enough of them, and they're not putting the
Mm.
money into it. The ticket prices are going up; they're not paying us much more, so that money is there,
Yeah, I agree.
and they
We
don't have.
see, thanks, Dan. A great question, which we haven't got time to even go down all these rabbit holes, but to have aired it is a good start. It's a really good
I
start.
think, let me read it once again. Going back to that question of how does fear of being labeled difficult and unprofessional silence people? I think also talking about being a woman, the standards generally in life are so different, aren't they? Like, if you're a woman and you just want to shag loads of people and you want to shag around, right? The reaction to if you're a man and you want to shag around, so different. If you're a man and you don't want children, you
Yeah.
almost don't have to voice it. Nobody asks you. Nobody goes up to you at a party and goes, "Oh, you're getting a bit old." We get that on a loop. When are you getting married? When are you getting married? Now, I know men and women do get this when you're in a relationship, but I think the just talking from the female side, being labeled difficult and unprofessional, you also have the thing of when you're a woman, your reaction is treated differently. Do you know what I mean? I wish I was more eloquent and I had more examples of this.
I
They're
think
better, but
I think there's a we haven't got time to discuss it today,
no.
but I think there's something in the element of what you're saying. What I think what you're trying to say is that your emotional reaction to something or you speaking up,
Yeah.
if you are identifying as a woman, can, more often than not, there's an implication that your hormones are all over the place
Mm-hmm.
or you're in a bad mood because you're a woman or that there's all of that comes with it rather than this is just your honest voice.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say. I think as
And I
well as
think
other things, but
for me, another guest that I would love to get on, and I'm searching if anyone's out there and they would love to come on and talk. I would love to talk to someone trans who's transitioned male to female in
yeah,
the musical theatre industry because I would love if they've had their transition after they'd started in the profession, if that makes sense. That's
yeah.
very niche that I'm trying to find
It's
someone.
quite niche, but
I have so many questions, honest questions, if they're ready to have an honest question, and absolutely no upset shade. I would never want to hurt anyone, but really, I have lots of questions because I think I would love to get that perspective of someone who's lived in both bodies, in both genders. I think that would be the most wonderful, honest perception of it.
yeah,
I've only lived as a woman, so I can only tell you what I've
yeah,
seen men be treated like, but I don't know how they feel.
yeah, exactly that.
And it's
Well, this is why
lovely having a man on, yeah.
I'm excited that Dan's agreed to come on
Yeah.
and chat because it's fascinating, and the more guests you have from all walks of life, the better educated we're all going to be. I know that we've entered into this and we're just having a lovely time and a chat and having a laugh with two friends, but what's coming out of it for me, I can see the effects it's having on me when I'm not on screen
Mm.
because I'm questioning things more, I'm thinking about things more.
Yeah.
I'm not so in my own head. I'm not so just, you start to look at the connections between people, you start to look at all these things. And if that's what our podcast gives people, then that's great for me. I just the art of conversation to open the dialogue that's never talked about or the thing that's said that's never said or
Mm.
I think that's what tends to happen. And the feedback that we've had, and thanks to everybody who's been very loyal, has been the honest way in which we talk. You know, there's nothing here that's scripted. I think it's worth reminding everybody about that. Nothing's, you know, if anything, due to our lives and how hilarious we are, the randomness and the disorganization of this is probably the key.
Yeah.
Put my teeth back in.
And I also think
Anyway,
two very different personalities that
oh,
I'm very surprised I haven't had worse feedback. I think that I'm quite offensive as a person. I don't mean to be, but I can be quite outspoken. I love talking, blah, 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 blah. I love meeting people. You know, this is like a great opportunity for me because in the profession, it was amazing meeting so many people from different walks of life. But I think since I've left the profession, it's grown even further. And there would be more opportunity for me to have those discussions and just meeting people, working with them. I don't mean to offend, but I really do want to ask the questions. I want to ask the difficult questions that people are afraid to ask. I'm not afraid. And you can absolutely tell me if you're offended. I never mean to offend. I just think some questions are taboo, and there's no taboo. There is, you know, that's why we have this disparity in life, because everything's meant to be taboo and we're told not to ask the questions and not confront things. And I think especially in our profession, there's a lot to confront that's been going on in the last sort of 5 to 10 years. I'd love to get everyone's perspective on it, all walks of life, all ages, all sizes, all
yeah,
genders,
yeah, absolutely
because I'm
that.
just so interested. And I don't want to live in my small world.
No,
I you know, I really have realized that about myself, is that since moving to a village, I've realized it's 100% not what I want. Like, I do not want to be a small person in a small bubble with a small mind. And I
no,
think in, you know, musical theatre especially is just such a gift to live in, because
yeah,
you're
I
just,
agree.
whether it's hard or not and whether people disagree or not, you are like allowed to have those conversations. You have all these people in front of you
Yeah,
that if you lived a certain life and went to a certain school with a certain socioeconomic status, you'd never get to ask.
yeah,
I watched, just quickly, I watched Will and Harper. Have you seen it?
yeah,
And I just was like, yes, this is exactly the kind of thing that moves me, that I love, because it was so, because it was comedians, it was so open. There were no questions. That I think they could have been more. I think they could have been more pushed even more difficult questions. But I love that thing where they confront it. And you know, he's got his old friend that he's known for years and years and years that has transitioned, and he's like, can we talk about your boobs?
yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
exactly how I
and
am. I love asking those questions that are in my brain.
and Will being that person that's going, do you know what? I'm from a position of like absolute numpty here. I need to level up. I
Yeah,
think I think what works great and will work great as we continue through this is exactly that. You have the mind to just go, "Bleh," which is great, and ask the questions. And also, I like to think I come at it from a perspective of, like you said, not. I mean, it makes me sound very unemotional, but a methodical, kind of reflective brain that's had all this information pumped into me because I've read and done this and done the other, that can then have a good listen to what's going on and come in with something I think that's meaningful at the right point rather than just talking for the sake of it.
I think I poo it all out, and you get to listen and take snapshots, and then go, let's go back to that, because that, you know, all of the poo that came out your mouth, you were able to select the golden sweet corn
Nuggets.
nuggets from my poo talk.
Nice.
Because the great that's the great thing about us, and I think why we work well, is it's not opposites attract. We're not opposite. There's loads of stuff we have in common. There's loads. I just think you're more measured sometimes. Does that sound
Yeah.
bad? Like, not, do you know what I mean?
No, no, I think
You're
it's a
calmer.
massive positive. And I think I've only come to realize it doing the podcast actually, quite how much, or quite how, how much all of the stuff that I'm interested in trying to better myself with knowing
Better myself.
is I don't know why I sound like this
I
now.
better myself.
Better myself is going to pay off. It pays off, and I listen back and I think, oh, that make not
Mm,
out of body, but God,
mm,
that makes such a lot of deep rooted sense.
mm.
And this has allowed me to realize that I've got something to offer people, got something to give, I suppose, in terms of that collective knowledge that we've got that we can share. If I can package it in the right way and say the right things that are authentic and come out and piece it all together, then hopefully someone who's listening will go, that really helped.
And
Or
I'm so
that's a really
happy
good
for
way
you.
of thinking about it.
I'm so happy for you because I'm the opposite. I thought I had so much to give and I listened to the podcast back and turn it off because I think, shut up, Abby, shut up.
No, but nobody thinks that. Everybody loves
Or I
it.
message you and I say, Lindsay, can you cut that bit out? Because I sound like a dick.
So,
I can't wait for us to get more popular and me to get the abuse that I expected, though. I'm very much
so
looking forward to hearing.
next time we've got
Yes.
Dan.
Yeah.
What do we want from people in? Oh, I nearly cut my head off. What?
Oh, hello.
Oh. What do we want from people next time, if anything at all, apart from that?
I think we've still got a couple of questions that we haven't answered. What time are we?
Subscribe, like, by the
Time
way,
are we going on?
subscribe, like.
Like, I haven't got a time up there.
It's a good hour and a half. I think we've.
What?
Yeah.
We need to edit this podcast. It's getting longer. The pod's getting longer, and the edits are getting shorter because this is ridiculous.
But this, yeah, there would be
Maybe we
a
should put two versions.
a shorter version of this.
We'll do
I
edit,
think
and then
I'll probably edit
But
slightly.
then also we could put the long version on for anyone who wants to fall asleep
Yeah.
to our voices. I think there's quite a few that I would love to, just looking at those questions, I'd love to touch on again. So we can actually.
Well, I think it'll be relevant for when Dan speaks anyway next time. And I think it will come, there'll be a lot of those questions that will come into it,
Yeah.
I think. Because, I think it's a can of worms. It's a lovely can of worms to go and dig your hands in.
I think what I'd love from people is if you want to ask a difficult question, a challenging question, and we can keep you anonymous. I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd also love anyone, obviously everyone's welcome. I'd love to hear from people who are maybe similar to our situation, maybe kind of our age, have been in the profession or been in the profession, menopause, maybe have taken time out to have kids or to for whatever reason, and who are coming back and how they are finding it, just to connect on that kind of level. Whether you're in musical theatre or plays or TV or gigging, just anyone who wants to kind of chime in with either questions or anyone who wants to say something about their opinion, whether it differs from ours or not.
Be nice to give lots of people a different voice, wouldn't it? And a chance to just chat like down to earth and, just have their voice, really, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a very nice, enjoyable conversation. And I will.
I feel sleepy now.
I feel sleepy, but we will see our very first interview happen on the next podcast. And I'm so excited about it.
Sorry in advance if I offend you. I don't mean to.
Yay! Anyway, to everyone who's listening.
I don't hate all men. I don't. I promise.
We do love you. And please tell everybody, subscribe, like, listen. Obviously, the more traction we get, the more content we can provide you with. I think that's safe to say.
And I think, a lot of podcasts are really good at staying on the subject. They're really good at hard-hitting matters. And I think I love that we just ramble on about.
We do ramble.
God knows what we had planned. I don't think we talked about anything other than the question that we had planned to talk about. I quite like that.
Also, thanks for coming into our new home.
Thanks for cleaning this morning. I don't know if you saw, I bought some more cups. They are biodegradable, for anyone who wants to know.
Also,
this
is a reclaimed coffee machine.
It is from it's from an orphanage.
Yeah.
Don't feed orphans coffee. It's very naughty.
No, don't do that.
Unless they're adult orphans. Yeah. I'm going to try and recreate this at home. If anyone thinks we're weird, we're pointing opposites. Like if I point this way, it's going the opposite way. So that's
I think I might have an appetize.
Should we kiss? Should we kiss?
Am I going this way?
Oh no,
I
there's a
can't
bit in the
see.
middle. There's a bit in the middle that disappears. We can't.
Oh.
I can't even hit you.
Anyway, love you, mate.
Cut off and don't cut me off.
I'm not going to cut you off, but love you, mate. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.